Welcome again to our midweek posting from St George's Church, Glasgow in Tamworth. I'm the Reverend Gary Simmons. Welcome to this. I want to speak about forgotten fruit. Now, I'm not going to be checking up whether we've had our 5 a day, but I read a book a few years ago with this as its title's theme. A couple of days ago, I was learning from Bear Grylls that it's a core value for the Scouts. And the current advert for the Red Cross centres around this word. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit, one of the 9 segments that St Paul speaks about when he writes, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law." Why would they be? They're such good qualities, aren't they? But which of those am I referring to today? It's something until quite recently seemed to be in short supply in the public domain, but is now being mentioned daily and valued highly. The forgotten fruit of kindness. During my 45 or so years as a Christian, there have been times when it's been very evident in church meetings or circles that it's been in very short supply. I think that grieves God's heart. In 2019, amongst our politicians, and in the USA and in Europe, things seem to be quite nasty and vitriolic, not a pleasant spectacle. Or we could reflect on the downside of social media. Plenty of good things about social media, with its constant trolling, personal assaults, anonymous posts, affecting celebrities and school children alike, sometimes with tragic consequences. Why are we unkind? Perhaps it's a defence mechanism, perhaps because someone has hurt us, maybe to feel better than others. But whatever the reason, it leaves a bitter taste in the mouth, doesn't it? So it's so encouraging to see in reinforcement up and down our land of the value of kindness. Because kindness disarms people and situations. Kindness brings a blessing. Kindness is life and people affirming. It's healthy. Random acts of kindness are happening all the time. The nurse's shopping that was paid for by someone else in the queue. Easter eggs put out on a Canterbury church wall for people to take. Our neighbour who had some face masks in his carriage which he passed on to care workers. A lovely card I received this morning from someone. A plumber who repaired a burst pipe in emergency free of charge for a neighbour. The shopping you collect for someone, the smile you give, the patience you display. All these and so many more make such a difference to other people's lives and to our own, I believe. Kind words. It's always good to stop and think. Is what I'm about to say, or often send in an email, is this kind? A kind word brings such a blessing to another. It ministers to their core, their heart. We know when we receive them, so let's give them. And having an attitude of kindness, which doesn't mean we can't disagree, sometimes passionately, with others, politically, theologically, or which football team is the best. But we will still respect others. We won't make things personal. We'll see people made in the image of God, willing to see the best in people rather than the worst. Kindness. Of course, kindness is not a preserve of Christians. I'm not suggesting that. It's part of the best of our humanity. My father died just over a year ago. In the final 2 weeks of his life, I was on the receiving end of some very simple yet very significant acts of kindness from hospital staff, which still move me today. But throughout the Old Testament, we're reminded that Hesed, loving kindness, is an essential part of God's character, who he is. It doesn't just mean God loves us, God also likes us. God is for us. Loving kindness at the heart of God. As a child, I used to really read and enjoy the Beano. One of my favourite characters was Dennis the Menace. One particular story, as usual, Dennis and his mate are up to mischief as usual, apple scrumpting in an old lady's garden down the road. Let's call her Mrs. King. They get caught out, of course, but as they return, she still has lemonade and biscuits for them. Dennis's mate can't get this, but Dennis says, Mrs. King doesn't give us treats because we are good, but because she is kind. A recent worship song, 10,000 Reasons, has this middle verse that I always find so thoughtful and encouraging. You're rich in love and you're slow to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness, I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. The songwriter there reflecting on the character of God. Your name is great and your heart is kind. Every day, may you and I find one reason to be kind to others. It flows from the heart of God. God bless you.